Okay, we're live. Yep, we are live. I apologize, we're a little late. आज वैसे ना बताऊँ क्या है कि ओलंपिक्स वाले आज हमें मेडल देने वाले थे। आज वो देने वाले थे मेडल कि भाई ये ऐसी एक पॉडकास्ट है, जहाँ पे कभी कोई टाइम पे नहीं आता, लेकिन आज 9 बजे के लिए सब के सब 8:59 अंदर आ गए थे। रूम होता है, वेटिंग रूम होता है। वेटिंग रूम में सब आ गए और मैंने हमारा जो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है, वहाँ पे मैंने बड़े मैसेज डाले, गाइस प्लीज़ बी ऑन टाइम, कांट बी लेट, बच्चों वाला इंसान हूँ, 10 बजे के बाद जूते पड़ेंगे, ये पड़ेंगे, वो पड़ेंगे, सेंटी वाले। और मैं ही लेट हो गया बिकॉज़ टेक्नोलॉजी ने धोखा दे दिया भाई। ये एक लाइफ लेसन है कि जब आप बहुत ज़्यादा ट्राई करते हो ना, ज़िंदगी कहीं न कहीं जूते आपको मारती ही है। You gotta be chill, you gotta be cool, because this is the platform for it. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of 420 grams. आज आप देख सकते हैं भाई बैठक फुल हाउस है। एक मेरे दाढ़ी वाली भाई हैं जिनके साथ हमने ये शो शुरू किया था। He is under the weather or so he says and we don't believe him, but he is with us in spirit. And so we wish him all the very best and we hope he recovers well. But we're joined on the show today by Sharda Ogra. We have Richard Hood, Renedy Singh, Jaideep Basu, and my name is Arjun और दिल का कैप्टन। कैप्टन क्यों भाई? क्योंकि आज कप्तानी की बात कर रहे हैं। देखिए जी, आई लीग चल रहा है। हमने बात ये छेड़ी अपने ग्रुप पे यहाँ पे कि क्या आई लीग की वीकली बातें करें या आई लीग के बारे में थोड़ी देर बाद बात करते हैं, क्योंकि अभी 1.5 महीना बचा है सीज़न में। तो आई लीग के बारे में थोड़ी देर बाद बात करेंगे। लेकिन आज हम बात करेंगे कप्तानी की। दिस इज़ अ जेनेरिक टॉपिक। It has nothing to do with a game that's going on right now. It has nothing to do with an India fixture coming up in the next few weeks. It has nothing that happened in the last ISL season. It's just something we're talking about. The kind of captains we've had, and we have one on the show. We're so lucky and obliged to have a former India captain with us on the show. Uh, so before we start, Jaideep sir ने एक article लिखा है. You can read it. It is on Scroll, on Indian football captains and controversies. And the latest incident that he went back to was the last Asian Cup. Sunil Chhetri was the captain before the Asian Cup, but then Stephen Constantine, for some reason, decided that he's going to, have a single captain in every other game. So he'll have 3-4 captains in a game in the tournament. And I remember जब मैंने और सिद्धांत ने स्टूडियो शोज तब हमने शुरू किए थे, we started with that Asian Cup at NewsClick. Thank you NewsClick for that. तो हमने भी यही बात करी थी कि ये थोड़ा अननेसेसरी लग रहा है, क्योंकि अक्सर आप ये 3-4 कैप्टन्स नॉमिनेट तब करते हो when you don't have a disputed outright leader. But when you have someone of Sunil's stature, it's a like that. तो वो बात तब समझ में नहीं आई, but it's around that. So do read that article if you can. But before we get into Indian football, captaincy, controversy, and because we have Sharda here, so how can we not talk about cricket, captaincy, controversy, Kohli, Sharma, and the way it was handled? But we have to start with Renedy bhai. Renedy bhai, so like because I brought up cricket right now, cricket is such a sport. अभी IPL चल रहा है. जो कप्तान वहां पे है, उसके हाथ में बहुत कुछ निर्भर करता है उस 20 ओवर के खेल में। किसको गेंद देगा, अगर उस ओवर में 24 रन पड़ गए, 30 रन पड़ गए, बैड डिसीजन मेकिंग, who does he bowl out, who does he not bowl out? I mean, there's so many decisions he's making, right? As opposed to football, where all those decisions are being taken on the sidelines by the coach.
Yeah.
तो कैप्टन का मेन काम क्या है in those 90 minutes or the build up to the 90 minutes?
So now I was being a vice captain for many years when Baichung was a captain. I myself was a captain for a few years. But then I feel the word captain is just hyped up by the media, at least in football. I know that in cricket, captain play a very important role. I don't know the rule and regulations of cricket, honestly, but I got to know from my friends or from the newspaper that captain play a very important role in selecting the bowlers or batsmen. Yeah, but in football, it's totally different. In football, we have got coaches, we have got head coach, manager, assistant coach. We have got many other people, who is there to select. But for me, like I said, it's hyped up by the media, and we have different other personalities. We need to have different leaders on the field. It may be starting from the keeper, defender, midfielder, strikers. So in various other positions, we have different leaders. But then captain, it's nice to be a captain, yes, to call it, but I feel that not the best player. The best player of the team doesn't have to be a captain. Where, as a coach, when I choose a captain, I will select someone who connects well with the players, and more of off the field where, you know, they have to stay together because team, you need to have a proper unity, right? So I would say that, you know, we have different other leaders in the team. So the captain vote in football doesn't do much. And there are two type of captains who are very vocal, one,
Yeah.
and second, who leads by example. Suppose Bhutia was a captain for a long time, right? And he's not very vocal, but we know that,
Yeah.
and the first thing he will do is in first minute or 2 minute, he will go for a crunching tackle with the defenders, and that's a signal for everyone that, oh, we are here to
Wake up.
fight. Wake up. This is a wake up call, you know. So those kind of
Yeah.
things. But I don't this
What,
captain
what kind
thing,
of a
you know. I
captain?
don't just.
What kind of captain was he, Renedy भाई? किस किस्म के कप्तान थे वो? Because जो मैंने कहानियां आप लोगों की टीम की सुनी है, there was so much friendship in that
Yeah.
team that is built over years, over time, and as
Yeah.
luck would have it, आप लोगों को वो time दिया गया under Bob Houghton.
Yeah.
कि एक साथ आप लोग लगे रहे, इतने साल आप लोगों ने टूर किया in the build up to 2011.
Yeah.
What was Bhaichung Bhai's role beyond just being Bhaichung Bhutia and what he did on the field? As a captain, how would he sort of get the team
Yeah,
together?
it's off the field. On the field, we have got the number one captain, Bob Houghton, right? And we have got other assistants. Yeah, other assistants. Like even Savio was an assistant. But off the court, how do you keep the team together? You know, when there is a problem in the team, you know, he is the one who is the person who bridge the gap between the coach and the players. You know, he's always there. So yes, but then, like I said, there are Mahesh, there is Deepak, Climax, Steven Dice, you know, and a goalkeeper, Subroto Pal. You know, these are different kind of leaders as well in the team. So then, and Baichung is the one who brings everyone together. And Sunil was a young player then. But these are the ones, you know, how do you keep the team together off the field, more of off the field than on the field. On the field, you know, there are a few other players who are equally good. So, but Baichung, yes, you know, like I said, not very vocal in the ground, but he knows, lead by example. He leads by example. And off the ground, you know, he's very friendly with everyone, and he knows the timing, when and how to talk when someone is in trouble or if anyone needs help, and he's always there.
And it helps that if you're funny like Bhaichung Bhutia, which a lot of people don't know.
A lot of people don't know. He looks very serious, but he is the funniest guy in the team, and that helps to be a good captain.
Yeah. Absolutely. यहाँ पे of course किस्से हम सुन रहे हैं कप्तानी के. Jaideep sir, before of course now we get into the other angles. आपका जो you know, your article, I read it, and the whole thing was, you know, you went back to so many different कि ये काफी टाइम से चल रहा है, कुछ ना कुछ हाईलाइट हो जाता है कप्तानी को लेकर विद इंडियन फुटबॉल, राइट?
या होता है, जैसे रेनेडी ने बोला कि doesn't really has any impact on the game at the moment. Even if like cricket, it has, like whether it's Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli, it's a huge debate. It carries a lot of meaning. But
वो उनकी डिबेट है सर, वो हम लोग डिबेट करते हैं, like Renedy भाई was saying, मीडिया बनाता है.
नहीं, I'm saying apart from cricketing things on the pitch, cricket captains, I'm talking about the India captains. I'm not talking about Odisha Ranji Trophy team or Jharkhand Ranji Trophy team captain. I'm talking about India captain. So it carries a lot of meaning. At least one India coach, former India captain, he didn't tell me, but he told a friend of mine that as long as I remain India captain, I can walk into any airport in India at any point of time and get a ticket in 10 minutes. Even if the flight is full, they will put two people outside and put me in, because I am India captain. So, but in football, as Renedy says, it is not that. But at the same time, I will say, players consider it a huge honor. I have seen, a lot of things I cannot say at the moment, how footballers play at their back to become India captains. Even if those who have gone for one tour, maybe कोई Zambia tour चला गया या Jamaica tour चला गया या पाकिस्तान में एक मैच में इंडिया का कप्तान रहा,
वो समझ गए.
Even he will say, he will write, I am a former India captain. So I'm talking about the national team again. I'm not talking about captain.
I'm sure talking about any team for playing captain India in any field.
Captain is a huge honor to be captain. So it has its own politics as well. Sometimes it is bigger, Sometimes it is smaller. Sometimes it is the equation between the coach and the captain. Sometimes it is the equation between his official and the coach. Sometimes it's a federation choice. Sometimes religion. Sometimes region. Sometimes caste. So many things have played roles in captaincy. That's what I have noticed. So, despite the fact a football player doesn't have much to do inside the pitch, unless the referee calls him and says, "Ki, your so and so defender is playing very rough, or please ask him." Unless you go into that, but still, India team football captain still has a lot of honor. It carries a lot of prestige, and I am sure those who play football seriously, those who play for India for a long time, they crave to become India captain. For
Absolutely.
whatever that's what I
No, no,
it's a-
no
it's
doubt.
a- it's a-
I think any sport, if you're representing your country, A, huge honor. B, if you get to lead your side, then Sone pe Suhaga. Parallels, Sharda. Before, of course, we get into okay, no cricket. I'll get it in a little later, but because you've on Tiao, now the demographic of the people watching our show, they might be say Tiao, Yao, Konao. I'm just assuming because they're all young kids who've gone into this. Now, pardon my ignorance for this. Could you tell us a bit about him? What sort of a leader was he? And this is at a time way back, long time back.
I'm going to sort of defer to Jaideep here and say I'm saying this because despite the fact that Jaideep is here, so I have just written 2,600 words on Tiao, whose full name is Tali Maranao. He was Free India's first football captain. He captained the team at the 1948 Olympics, and there's a photograph of him. He was a midfielder for Mohan Bagan for about 9 seasons, and as we have all, so I went and met his family in 2016 as part of the stories that I was doing about Northeastern football, and a really fascinating character. I met 3 of his 4 children. His wife was alive at the time. She was living in Kohima. We met the family outside Dimapur, and he was a Naga. And he was Dr. Talimara now, and he was a practicing doctor. And when he
Yeah,
retired,
Dr. Tiao, yeah.
he was the in charge of he was the Director General of Health Services of Nagaland. So a very accomplished person, and one of the reasons that he was chosen to be captain ahead of the other players on the team was because he was educated. He spoke good English, so they knew that when they're sending the team out to the UK, to London, they had to have someone who was a leader in that sense. So there are terrific stories about him and how he responded to the press and so on.
Thoda batao na aap, because this whole show is about stories actually.
So this is the most incredible thing about him is that he had 2 sons and 2 daughters, and he named one of his sons, his younger son, India Nova. And India Nova in his language meant one who led India. So that was the name that he gave his son. And we discovered this when we were talking, and we said, all Naga names, the whole names are very complicated, and we said that very tough to remember and read, and you're sort of keeping track and so on. But India Nova was very simple. She said, "What does it mean?" And then his son said it meant one who led India. So when he had gone on the tour, so India played France in the tournament for the first time. They missed 2 penalties and lost 1-2 to France. And there was massive sort of. They said that our father was very upset and emotional, as was everybody else, that we had not played. But everyone was fascinated by the fact that the Indians, a lot of the Indians, I thought only one was not playing, but Jayadipta corrected me today, was playing with shoes. Jayadipta, 4 people wearing shoes.
Four
people. I also happen to have a photograph of that team. It's just by pure chance. That is the team that played in the 1948 Olympics. And this very handsome and dashing looking person here is Tiao.
Yeah, bang in the middle.
Bang in the middle. Right? He's sitting with his arms crossed and so on. So my finger, that's it.
Yeah.
Right? So, and you can see that a lot, they're not, some of them have got their feet taped up, they're wearing socks, whatever, but 4 of them, and so that 4 of them were wearing shoes, and that fascinated the crowd and the opposition, and saying, how was this being managed and so on. Jayadipta has a terrific story about this, which he will tell you. And so when Talimara now was asked this, he said, yeah, we play football, we don't play boot ball. And there are reasons for why they decided to do this and so on. And there's another great story is that after the Olympics, they went and played some club matches. They beat Ajax Amsterdam 1-2. And they played some club matches. I think they won 3 and drew 2 of the 5 that they played. And apparently, one of the English club managers, when they were playing them, said, I'll eat my hat if we lose to this Indian team. And of course, they lost to the Indian team. So when the match is over, everyone's clapping. The captain, would you like to say a few words? So Talimara now said, no, not until the manager eats his hat first. So he was that kind of a guy. So he like led his team. The most fun story amongst the fun stories, again, that I was told, which I love, is that they were all on their way on a steamship going to England. And sort of in this dining room, and they all are wearing their formal clothes, and they've got some 75 knives and 3 forks, and they don't know what to do. All these Indian boys are sitting and they're trying to work their way through the food. And the bandmaster, there's a live band, says that, oh, we have the Indian football team with us, and it's great and whatever. And is there a request from the captain, maybe? So at that time, you're thinking there are these young men who are traveling abroad for the first time. They don't know where. This is India's biggest the first big international football tournament we are playing after getting independence. It's been less than a year since we've been independent. There've been riots, there's been chaos. All kinds of things are happening. And they're here and they said, does the captain have a request? So Talimara now stands up and said, yes, please play for us the Song of India. And the Song of India is a great jazz tune, which is from 1937, 38, something like that, which of course they were too embarrassed, the band was, because they didn't know it. And they had to apologize. And for all his teammates, they felt so happy that there was this guy, he was here, he was our front man almost. So he was front man in that sense also. He was like this social as well as being the footballing leader. He may not have been the best player on his team or even like a genius in that. He was playing alongside Sailen Manna and I think Taj Mohammad and so on. But he had this kind of a personality, and he was India's first football captain. And I felt so wretched about the fact that we couldn't speak to his wife, who's the only person who knew him when he was a young man. That because she was not meeting anyone and she lived in Kohima and she passed away a few years ago as well. But it was just fantastic being around that whole. He's got a government gave him some land outside Nikapur, huge property, massive trees, beautiful, beautiful. And so it was lovely to be there and just to see. We saw his passport, which was one of the first few passports given by the Indian state to its people going out. For you might be passport number 37 or 58 or 103 or whatever it was. It was great. It's great. Mm-hmm. A great figure in Indian football in the sense of being a captain of all kinds. I could go on forever, but I will stop.
I'll just get Richard in because you also. So when you choose a captain as a coach, like Renedy Bhai was saying, when I look at a captain, it's actually moments like the one which Sharda said, right? That he'll stand up in a place where the entire team is feeling out of place, and the guy will stand up and say, "Hello, let's get in the zone," right? You actually look for that kind of a personality. That is the personality you look for in a captain, right, Richard? Or have you encountered very different kind of personalities in your tenure as a coach and the teams that, of course, you've led?
Sorry. One second. So I'll just interrupt Richard. So in this whole story about the Song of India and so on, and the son was talking, and India Nova was telling me the story, and he said, this India is a Nova, time. What a name! What a great name. So he said, this is the time when we had just become independent. We did not know how we do as a country. People did not know whether the country would stay together. And this is the time that this guy stands up in this steamship going to England and says, yeah, please play for us the Song of India. Now you may go on, Richard. Sorry.
Nice one.
Richard, what's like? Okay, I'm saying it's subjective, right? Every coach chooses a captain according to the dynamic of the team. Every team's dynamic is different depending on the players you have and so on and so forth, personalities you have. For you, I'm saying subjectively, who is for you a leader? Who do you look at? What are the things you look at in a player saying कि यार ये मेरा कप्तान बनेगा इस team का? Because and I'm guessing everyone knows this, talent and skill is not the number one criteria when choosing a captain. वो तो हमारे स्कूल में होता है, स्कूल लेवल में होता है, कॉलेज लेवल में होता है, अबे ये सबसे सॉलिड प्लेयर है, इसको बनाओ कप्तान. But actually प्रोफेशनल लेवल में something else, right?
नहीं, मेरा कोचिंग करियर इतना पर्सपेक्टिव में नहीं आएगा बिकॉज यू गॉट रेनिडी एंड शारदा एंड जयदीप सर ओवर हियर. मतलब कॉन्टेक्स्ट थोड़ा और नीचे डूब जाएगा. But if you're talking about these characteristics, something like Sharda just mentioned, right, that he let the other superstars, he gave them the platform to express themselves. So Celine Manna tha, I mean, he wasn't necessarily the best player, but the captain also is somebody who has the qualities to bring out the best in them just by being present over there. तो अभी थोड़ा fan perspective से बोल देता हूँ, मतलब हम लोग जब टीवी पे फुटबॉल देखते हैं, I mean, when we keep trying to figure out इसको captain क्यों बनाया, and then you start to see one is consistency, मतलब these guys usually show up all the time. Right from the way they carry themselves in the tunnel, वो handshake जो रहता है, ये सब मतलब कैप्टन, like Randy had mentioned, क्रिकेट जैसा इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं है. मैच शुरू हो जाता है, रेफरी के साथ थोड़ा बातचीत करना है, द की डिसीजन इतना नहीं रहता है. We're just talking about one person who symbolizes the entire team, and that trust जो, I mean, he's an extension of your
yes sir.
और कोच का मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, आईज एंड ईयर्स ही बन जाता है. नॉट दैट ही स्पीक्स आउट ऑन एवरीबडी एल्स, बट एज अ कोच यू हैव लॉट ऑफ ब्लाइंड स्पॉट्स. तुम्हें बहुत चीज़ दिखती नहीं है. तो हम लोग कार में जैसा रेयर व्यू मिरर रहता है जो दिख नहीं सकता, हम लोग ऐसा झांक के, कैप्टन इज अ रेयर व्यू मिरर इन टर्म्स ऑफ व्हाट्स एक्चुअली कमिंग टुवर्ड्स अस. मतलब वो कभी कई बार वार्निंग देता है, भाई प्लेयर ठीक नहीं है, ये लोग ज़्यादा ही खुश हो रहे हैं, टीम में कॉम्प्लिसेंसी है, ग्राउंड में ज़्यादा एफर्ट नहीं आ रहा है. तो वी गेट दैट. एंड कैप्टन दूसरा बंदा जो है जो सबके लिए ईजी भी बना देता है. मतलब बहुत बार हम लोग ने भी गलती किया है कि वी ट्राई एंड जो गेम प्लान एक्सप्रेस करना है सही तरीके से एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर सकते हैं. लेकिन कैप्टन हम लोग पूछते हैं कई बार, तुम लोग वो ग्राउंड के अंदर हडल में घुसने के बाद बोलते क्या हो. आई मीन वन ऑफ द कैप्टन ही सेड, सिंपल बात है, मैं बोलता हूँ एनी हाउ विन, जीतना ही है आज. जो कोच ने बोला छोड़ दो, आज जाके जीतना ही है.
ये सब छोड़ दो. 4-5-2-1 4-2-3-1.
हाँ, वो 4-2-3-1 अभी के लिए रहने दो. क्रंच मैच है, हर एक बंदे को अपना, I mean you have to play out of your skin and things. मतलब ये he admitted also कि ठीक है, जिनको समझना था वो लोग समझ गए, जिनको समझ में नहीं आया you have to remind them कि effort सबसे पहले आता है. तो lot of the times they complete the message for you. हम लोग टैक्टिक्स में ज़्यादा डूब जाएंगे, ये लोग एफर्ट का बात कर देते हैं. हम लोग एफर्ट में ज़्यादा डूब जाएंगे, ये लोग याद दिलाते हैं कि शेप रखना है, वी हैव टू स्टे ऑर्गेनाइज्ड इन थिंग्स. सो आई थिंक कैप्टन इज समबडी हु completes the picture at the legitimate moments also, and this might be universal across the board. मतलब guys who don't really necessarily hog the limelight, मतलब उनको ये stardom से इतना लेना देना नहीं है, not afraid to carry the extra weight and things. And बहुत बार अभी रणनीति जैसे बोला कि कैप्टन और लीडर के बीच में भी बहुत फर्क रहता है. मतलब अर्जेंटीना का 2014 टीम देखो, Mascherano was the one leading all the pre-game talks, and मतलब जो बंदा ने पूरा एफर्ट डाला फाइनल्स तक पहुंचाया टीम को, he was the one who you can sort of talk about the effort model. Talent तो मेसी में दुनिया भर का था, but you're talking about somebody, the captain without the armband, right? So you get a lot of those examples as well within a team setting. So you look for these guys to sort of comprise your 11. मतलब कई बार कैप्टन चुप रह जाता है, then you want these guys to sort of get in there and get the job done.
एक हमारे जैसे होते हैं जी. हमारी छतरपुर 5-a-side टीम होती थी, मैं कैप्टन होता था. जो आदमी हमारा शो डायरेक्ट कर रहा है, जो हमारी पिक्चर्स काट रहा है, सिद्धांत, मैं इन सबको गंदी गंदी गालियां देता था. भोर भोस के गंदी गंदी गालियां देता था. आई डिडंट से एनीथिंग. तो और मैं मतलब आई यूज्ड टू कम लेट. दैट काइंड ऑफ कैप्टन. एक वो किस्म के कैप्टन होते हैं, गंदे वाले कैप्टन, व्हिच इज व्हाई कट माय कैमरा आल्सो नाउ स्ट्रेट अवे. आई कैन सी व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, Mr. Rani. But I'm going back. Randy bhai, very nice story of Dr. Rao that Sharda put out. What is the sort of stories that you hear in the Northeast? Because he's huge in that sense, but it's football. So football hasn't penetrated the entire country, but the Northeast is of course something where football is, it's huge. So is there a lot of folk tales and everything?
Brother, see,
to Dr. Rao?
After Dr. Tiao, I think we have not seen many players from Nagaland for a very, very long time. And this is why I really want to see players coming out from Nagaland. We have seen players like Temjin, and there are a few players, 3 or 4 players playing in I-League. Yeah, and other than that, they couldn't make it big. But I could see that I keep going there in Dimapur, and there are some guys who has got talent. But then the organization is something, the structure is something they need to have. So there's still a long way to go. And if they keep working at least to match up with the other, say Mizoram, Meghalaya, Manipur in terms of football, but they will get there. They have got a team like Nagaland Police and all, and they have been there for a long time. But to be in the level of ISL or I-League, it will take some time. But the work is on.
पुलिस वाली
But
टीम
I would love
बहुत
to-
है रैंडी भाई.
Yeah.
पुलिस वाली टीम, चाहे
Yeah.
गढ़वाल पुलिस हो,
But-
नागालैंड पुलिस हो, यूपी पुलिस हो,
हैदराबाद
बॉल चाहे जहाँ हो, कोनियां जरूर
Yeah.
चलती हैं, जूते बूट पड़ते हैं मुंह पे.
But I have to be very honest here. मैं जब बचपन में जब 5 से 7 8 साल, और even when I was 12, I've never heard of Tiao honestly. But when I went to Calcutta, जब मोहन बागान में 1996 at the age of 17 and a half, जब पता चला कि एक अपना नागालैंड से एक प्लेयर था वो जो इंडिया का भी कैप्टन था, दैट्स व्हेन वी स्टार्ट रेस्पेक्टिंग. लेकिन आई थिंक उसने जितना नाम मिलना चाहिए उतना मिला नहीं है, you know. People talk about, and in those days the players were all from Hyderabad, Punjab, Bengal,
Hyderabad was
and
huge.
Bangalore, and Bangalore, or few from Mumbai. So other than that, you know, they don't talk about any other, or Kashmir se, या even Kerala, Biju bhai log आया उसका आगे उतना नहीं, not many. So now, and Northeast was Kiran Khongsai after Tiao. I think Kiran Khongsai was the only player in 1994. I think that he was the player who played for the national team after Tiao, if you say. So देख रहे हैं आप कितना Tiao 1940 47 or 98 48 after 48 कितना साल के बाद अभी नॉर्थ ईस्ट का एक लड़का आया है, वो भी मणिपुर से, किरण खोंगसाई, you know. So and after the धर करके 7-8 आने लगा in every year you could see 7 or 8 players playing, right? So Tiao, with all due respect, you know, उतना मिला नहीं उसको मिलना चाहिए. Like अभी सरदार ने तो बोला he has got a big house, and I met Tiao का tournament with this under-21 tournament going on. I was there to see the tournament, and it was nice to see उसका बच्चा लोग को, you know. But I would love to go there and visit there someday, like Sardar have done that before.
Randy bhai, what sort of a captain were you? आप ये बताओ ना. Because you
I
were not
feel-
the sweet. हम जितना आप sweet और lovely लगते हो on camera, once playing on the field.
My players will say that मैं ज़्यादा गाली दे देता है. I'm totally a different person on the field. थोड़ा complain है. So but then again, you know, I was you know, I do like all the players, and we really connect well. And like I said, you know, when Baichung Bhutia, before I became a captain for 8 or 9 years, I was being a vice captain. But I could see that, you know, we captain hockey, you know, we need to show that, oh, I'm captain. And there are few, I don't have to lie here. There are few captains, they just want to, it's an honorable, like Jadid said, it's an honor. But at the same time, we don't have to act much like, oh, मैं captain है, मैं सब कुछ करना चाहिए. It should be, lead by example, and you should be nice to the players, you should connect to the players well, and as a senior player, and that's what I did, and that's what Baichung did. And we shouldn't, and captain something doesn't mean that, oh, you know, to show everywhere, you know, captain hai ye hua. I think that's all, that's not a nice thing to do. But to be a player's captain, I think you have to be nice to everyone, you know. But not when the game is on, you become a totally different person. Once the game is off, you know, you are friends again, you know. That's how it was.
बंदे कह रहे होंगे sideline से. हाँ जी Randy bhai.
No, but if you ask my players, my teammates, they all say बहुत काफी गाली देता है, you know. But off the field, we all are just good friends. Even Richard and Xavier sir was there. I think it was an e-license. Richard भी कभी हम लोग का license के लिए ये करता था, instructor, और ये अपना Xavier के साथ. I think I had a fight with Arata. वो भी
बारासात में.
बारासात में. So then just imagine Xavier sir ने लोग ने बुला के बोला है कि Randy, you don't have to be that aggressive, you know, players are watching, you know. So all these things, you know, off the ground and on the ground is totally different. So yeah, I just have to maintain now, you know, that's it. Yeah.
I'm guessing Randy भाई जो आपके teammates होंगे वो कह रहे होंगे after the match कह रहे होंगे यार हमें तो लगता था Randy भाई हमारे दोस्त थे.
No, those I'm friends with everyone.
No, but that's beautiful. I mean, but I just feel, you know, it's so much a personality thing. Who you are, and if you transform on the field, why there is no one set way of being a captain. There is no one way of being a leader. And being who you are, being comfortable with who you are, brings the best out of your personality, and that is what you want from a leader. So I feel it's so important that you be who you are. This Virat Kohli conversation that keeps on happening. ये देखो ये कोई तरीका है कप्तानी करने का, ये कोई तरीका है बोलने का. मैं कहा भाई वो बंदा कह रहा है भाई मेरा ये तरीका है. अब tactically वो जितना भी, you know, you could judge him subjectively whatever, but वो उसका तरीका है बंदा, और वो कैसा करता है वहाँ पे. So it's so important. Sir, आज ये stories की गाथा या गाथा लगेगी. बताइए सर कुछ yesteryears की कुछ captains की कुछ कहानी बताइए ना सर, which we can dwell upon.
Ask me something specifically. You ask me what once small
from possibly the successful eras of Indian football, captaincy, because you know those are the eras where you're fighting against adversity, you don't have much, and that's where leadership really comes through to pull the team in.
One thing I would just like to add in it, that after Tiao, as we all know that Kiran Kongshai is the first player from Northeast to play for India. It's not actually right. The second player to play for India is Jerry Bassi.
Oh, yeah.
Was from
Sikkim.
Sikkim.
The
Yes.
Sikkim, ये Seven Sisters
Okay,
में है, in Northeast they call
Hey.
different kingdom. दादा ये हाँ Jerry Bassi, I know Jerry Bassi sir really well. वो भी Asian Games winner I think, or third winner, Asian Games winner, and I really respect. हाँ, लेकिन वो उस समय वो सिक्किम नॉर्थ ईस्ट में आता है कि नहीं, so that's the thing.
Yeah. That is true. So
Yeah.
Jerry Bassi is another player who has long been forgotten.
Yeah.
Jerry Bassi is very well off.
But what a lovely man. What a lovely man. He's
man.
70, 76, 75, 75, and he's still top fit. Top fit.
He used to play for Mafatlal in Bombay. Bombay had very great football those days.
Great person.
Kaptani तो बहुत story है, but I think the biggest story of Kaptani goes to Latif sir, Mr. S.A. Latif, who was from Bombay. He was India captain in 1959 Merdeka. He was India captain in 1959 Olympic qualifiers. India qualified for Olympics after beating Indonesia. I think India beat Afghanistan first and then beat Indonesia. So he was tipped to be the captain in the Rome Olympics. But as it happened that in Rome Olympics, the manager, the coach, and the captain, they happened to be from the same community. When the selection committee met, Mr. Rahim was the captain. Rahim will be the coach, and Mr. Ziauddin will be the manager. Since he is the secretary of the All India Football Federation, he will go as the manager. Nobody can replace him. Then I believe it is being said. I am not sure, but it is being said in the federation meeting. Somebody asked, "Are we sending an India team or a Pakistan team?" So what happened? So they said कि हाँ यार ये तो थोड़ा चेंज करना है, कप्तान चेंज कर दे, बाकी तो ठीक है. Coach agreed to. Coach will stay. Of course, the manager cannot be changed. He is too powerful to be changed. So he is not only the manager, he is also India's representative in the FIFA Congress the same year in the same Olympics. So captain has to be changed. So it fell on PK Banerjee. PK Banerjee became the India captain that year, and Latif was from Caltex. He was playing for Caltex. No, I think he was playing for Tatas or Caltex at that time. Tatas, I think he was playing for. And Latif was very upset. As it is, people say Latif didn't have a very good relationship with the coach, Mr. Rahim, because Latif came from a very good family, and he was a very handsome man, tall. The people in Bombay, he was known as Cornell. At the Bombay ground at Cooperage, everybody called him Cornell in Bombay football. So he had some problem with the coach. I don't know what kind of problem, but he had some problem with the coach. So he was dropped as captain, and PK Banerjee became the captain. No less a player, perhaps a better player, PK Banerjee, whatever. But Mr. Narayanan, who died last year, who was the part of that Olympic team, he died last year, he was a goalkeeper. Mr. Narayanan told me that this is one of the reasons. He told me very specifically once that this is I'm quoting Mr. Narayan, that this is one of the reasons he shifted to Pakistan. In 1962, he and his entire family, they migrated to Pakistan. But there is another story added to it. That's the most lovely story of the entire thing, I would say, from captaincy point of view. He was disappointed that he was denied the India captaincy in the Olympics. So there could be other reasons also. This is one of the reasons he lost interest and disappointed and went to Pakistan. Actually, he played for Pakistan there also. He captained Pakistan also. He is the only player who captained both Pakistan and India and Pakistan. But the best part of this story, in 1964, when India played the Asian Cup, when India reached the final of the Asian Cup before losing to Israel in the final, tournament was being played at Jerusalem. Okay, from Jerusalem the team went to play to Tehran. They were playing Olympic qualifiers against Tehran. In Jerusalem they lost in the final, but in Olympic qualifiers against Iran, India lost. So as they were coming back, the flight was not straight to Calcutta. The flight initiated from Calcutta or from Delhi. I know it was from Bombay. The flight was not straight to Bombay. The flight, the Tehran to first flight was up to Karachi. So they had to change at Karachi and come back. They had a wait of 4 or 5 hours at Karachi airport. And Mr. Arunay Nigam, who is still there in Bangalore, you can any of you can talk to him. Richard can talk to him. Sharda can talk to him. Mr. Arunay Nigam told me that in Karachi we landed at 2 o'clock in the night. The entire team landed. Deserted Karachi airport, nobody there. The lone man waiting for us was Latif. By that time he was in Pakistan, but he was waiting for his teammates. He says at 2 o'clock in the night he was standing at the airport. We could see he was waiting for us. He greeted us. He gave us tea. For 5 hours he was there till we boarded the airport, boarded the flight to Bombay again. He was such a nice man. I thought it's a great story, isn't it?
ये
Brother,
हाँ जी रेनी भाई आप बोलना चाहते थे।
yeah. Then captaincy का मतलब the only problem that I have playing for so many years, unlike cricket में credit मिलता है captain को, बाकी सबका player का नाम तो पता नहीं है, जब cricket का hyped up होता है, and I don't want to do this anymore. So PK Banerjee, Chuni Goswami लोग के समय में ये captain था, वो captain था, बाकी सब player कहाँ चला गया? Football is a team game, so credit should go to everyone. It's not captain, leader, legend. No, 11 players playing, 18 players and then substitute. So we have
तो परेल में बना था वो.
So this is what in modern game में coach has got a lot to do now. Coach is like 24-hour job. Coach, at least in football, they are the one who is mastermind everything. Yes, we need some good personality. Like I said, in different positions, we need to have leaders in different positions. So I totally agree with that. But ये जो captainship को सिर्फ credit देना, it start affecting the whole team unity. सिर्फ अगर we are all human, we are 25 players, 27 players, सिर्फ captain का और coach का नाम आते रहेगा, there are many other players, you will not be able to maintain that balance. So ये ज़्यादा, so it's depend on the coach. It's a coach का अपना it's a duty to balance that. ज़्यादा किसी का भी नाम नहीं होना चाहिए, and Bob have done really well with that. और दादा को to be more clear on that, the Northeast का Jerry Basi is from Kalimpong, and Kalimpong falls under Bengal. So Jerry Basi is from Bengal, Dada. Jerry Basi is from Bengal.
वो तो सुनील छेत्री भी बंगाल का ही है.
तो बंगाल का सुनील छेत्री cannot be a Northeast. सुनील छेत्री cannot be ऐसा Northeast नहीं बोल सकता. So Jerry Basi was born in Kalimpong, so in Bengal, yes.
और सुनील छेत्री ऐसा है,
दिल्ली बॉय. सुनील छेत्री
नहीं, दिल्ली बॉय नहीं. एक कोच ने मुझे बोला सुनील छेत्री ने हैट्रिक मारा. पता है कोच ने मुझे क्या बोला? आई डोंट वांट टू नेम द कोच. यार नेपाली ने तो आज क्या खेल दिया.
सुनील छेत्री born in Hyderabad, पक्का दिल्ली बॉय. पक्का अपना भाई का तरह.
Who will get the access to Kiran Kongsai, who I have been trying to talk to from 2016 only?
Yeah.
Please, somebody talk to him. Get
I will. Yeah.
Why not?
It will be great. It will be great.
Trying so much, he's not answering message on Facebook and whatever. Anyway,
Kiran Kongsai also learned his football in Delhi. He's a side product. Kiran
Kongsai boy.
Yeah, he's a Delhi boy. Dada is a Delhi boy.
Delhi boy.
Trying to controlling this discussion.
तीन player उस India team में गया था वहाँ से.
Yeah, Dada.
We all look.
He's our pioneer. A great respect. Gunavir Singh उसके बाद. Surmani Singh, Gunavir Singh, Balin Singh आया, And then
और एक भी था. वो सब India खेला एक साथ.
हाँ.
आपने सर थोड़ा वो कहानी बता के ना वो साहब की कराची एयरपोर्ट एंड एवरीथिंग थोड़ा रोमांटिसाइज कर दिया यहाँ पर डिस्कशन को. वो मैं कह रहा हूँ कि मैं 6 महीने से मैंने काम नहीं किया है, तो अब वैसा स्टेज आ गया 5वें महीने में कि मैं अपने आप से बात करता हूँ, वैसा वाला सीन चल रहा है. और मैं एक डिस्कशन अपने आप से कर रहा था कि we have gotten so into the commercialization of sport, where goal scorer, winning, and so on and so forth is the be all end all. But if you actually ask, what is the beauty of playing sport? It is the connections you form within a team. It is that connection that goes way beyond when you stop playing with each other. That for me is number one beauty of sport. Is the connect, and that connect with lives with you for a lifetime. जैसे आपने सर की बात करी वहाँ पे, सर, that is it, right? For some reason, that for me, like the people I have played football with, if I have not touched base with them for 10 years, tomorrow I call them up, we are again abusing each other the first time we pick up the phone. It's like nothing's changed, you know? And that's because we've shared so much space on a field with each other. And then comes, of course, the, ki kaun jeeta, kaun hara, and so on and so forth. Richard, I'll get the discussion to current times before we then, of course, head to media and the hype the media always does on captaincy, because I feel that is an important aspect. In current times, Sunil is the outright leader, no doubt about it, right? And Sunil defies that logic, which you always say that the best player need not be captain, but just purely because he's that big a player, stature so much that he has to be the leader, and he has that personality also. कि किसी ने मेरे प्लेयर को मारा तो मैं आ जाऊंगा सामने. I might not fight with anyone, but अगर किसी ने मारा तो मैं आ गया सामने वहां पे बचाने के लिए बच्चे. अभी from this current lot, and barring your Sandesh and Gurpreet, I'm saying let's put them aside. From this current lot, आपको क्या लग रहा है? Do you see signs in any players who could be future India captains?
वो बोल नहीं सकते ना भाई, because I think Sunil's personality, and then you're talking about Sandesh and Gurpreet as well, they eclipse any other person to sort of come out and shine and show those qualities.
But
तो जब तक
glimpses अगर कुछ आपने
कैसे
देखा है,
दिखेगा भाई?
like
मतलब
मैं-
अगर ग्राउंड
मैं
के अंदर ही
बोलूं,
इतने एज डिफरेंस भी बहुत है ना अभी,
मेरे को-
मतलब
मेरे को वांगजाम दिखता है, अपुया दिखता है. Also because position on the pitch, बीच में बैठ रहे हैं, पूरा गेम उनके बीच में.
नहीं, बट गुरप्रीत इज नॉट गोइंग टू रिटायर फॉर अनदर 8 इयर्स. गुरप्रीत का करियर अभी 8-9 साल बाकी है, तो कैप्टन आर्मबैंड डायरेक्टली उधर जाने वाला है भाई. मतलब ग्लिम्सेस दिखेगा, ये सब दिखेगा, बट कैप्टनसी इज अ वेरी थॉट आउट पोजीशन. नेशनल टीम का बोल रहे हो तो देन इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. बी ग्रेट टू सी हिम वेयर द कैप्टन आर्मबैंड वन छेत्री रिटायर्स, बैंगलोर एफसी के लिए कुछ पहन के अकॉम्प्लिश करेगा, फिर फॉरेन प्लेयर के साथ उसको कंटेस्ट करना है आर्मबैंड के लिए. तो ये सब आई थिंक दोज डायनामिक्स यू हैव टू सॉर्ट ऑफ कीप इन माइंड कि अभी गुरप्रीत का कितना टाइम है, शेल्फ लाइफ है विद द नेशनल टीम. हु एल्स इज कमिंग अप, हु आर द 29-30 ईयर ओल्ड्स हु आर गोइंग टू टेक अप दैट रोल. लेकिन जस्ट कमिंग बैक, आपने बोला कि हिस्ट्री पे नहीं जाएंगे, आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द लैक ऑफ आर्काइविंग. अभी आई मीन ऑल दी स्टोरीज हैव गॉन कंप्लीटली मिसिंग. ये नाम 2 names आई हैव हर्ड फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम टुडे, क्योंकि अब तक जितना भी मेरे को इंडियन स्पोर्टिंग कॉन्टेक्स्ट में लीडरशिप के बारे में पढ़ना पड़ता है, आई एम गोइंग बैक टू क्रिकेट लिटरेचर. सुनील गावस्कर के पुराने बुक से आइडल्स, कैप्टन्स, देन माइक ब्रेलीज बुक ऑन कैप्टनसी, देन हु इज दैट गाय हु इज विद राजस्थान रॉयल्स, मतलब दैट साउथ अफ्रीकन गाय, द कोच Paddy Upton. So he's got a book called The Barefoot Coach, and so I'm talking about Indian context, Indian mentality को समझने के लिए लिटरेचर है ही नहीं. हाउ वेल क्रिकेट इज कवर्ड एंड थिंग्स. एंड अदर बात है कि रेनिडी भाई ने बोला कि टियाओ का नाम, मतलब ये ही फाउंड आउट बगान जाने के बाद ही नाम पता चला. लेकिन बंगाल के अंदर ही जाओ, मतलब यू गो टू ऑल दीज म्यूनसिपलिटी ग्राउंड्स, यू गो टू ऑल दीज बस स्टॉप्स एंड थिंग्स, प्लेयर के बाद नाम दिया गया. तो कहीं ना कहीं एटलीस्ट इन बंगाल देयर इज अ वेरी ओवर्ट एफर्ट टू सॉर्ट ऑफ मेंटेन दीज नेम्स, मेंटेन दीज स्टेटसेस. पता नहीं प्लेयर का कितना नॉलेज है, मतलब वो बस स्टॉप रहने से बहुत बार वी गो पास मॉन्यूमेंट्स एंड वी हैव नो क्लू व्हाट द सिग्निफिकेंस बिहाइंड इट इज. लेकिन ये जो डेलिबरेट एफर्ट जो दिख रहा है, बाकी सब मतलब एनीवे क्रिकेट वी नो व्हाट द स्टेटस इज कंपेयर टू आई मीन फुटबॉल का स्टेटस क्या है. बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग ऑल दी स्टोरीज एंड स्टफ, मतलब कहीं ना कहीं तो आर्काइविंग में भी इतना मिसिंग हो जाता है that people growing up in the sport, they have no clue. मतलब leadership का अभी idols कौन, आपने पूछा कि who are the ones showing the glimpses, but if you have to point the finger to upcoming players कि you need to be like them, मतलब visible examples भी बहुत limited हैं in terms of just sort of pointing the way to leadership qualities and top players. जो history है हमारा, जो archiving है, even that sort of lets down the future generation. मतलब अभी नहीं शुरू करेंगे फिर बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा आगे चल के to keep some sort of track record ना. तो वो थोड़ा concern लगा.
Mr. Basu's there. You need to.
No, I've read his books. Yeah, मतलब इनके books and Kapadia and things. लेकिन क्रिकेट का वॉल्यूम देखो भाई. Cricket has got sheer volume.
What Richard is saying is interesting about Bengal and about Bagan is and so Talmiran I was remembered much more in Assam, where he played starting at Guwahati and then moved to Calcutta and Bengal. So there are two grounds in Assam that are named after him, two sports venues that are named after him. And only his birth centenary was in 2018. So एक stamp निकला and all. But I'm saying statue कहाँ है उसका? Statue होना चाहिए. I'm all for building statues. Statue बनाओ किधर? Airport का नाम दो.
इमारत
That is the thing.
हाँ,
So, but Bengal and Assam, and his family says that. He said he's much more known outside the state that than he is in it. And then okay, now they have 3 tournaments now named after him in Nagaland.
Yeah.
Statue, postage stamp निकला ₹5 का, which you'll find the next time you go to a post office.
15 rupees का था
5.
5 अभी I saw that somewhere तो
Maybe I should double check. But
It's a,
5.
it's a postage stamp.
Postage
हाँ.
stamp.
Also, day
No,
day
proper. Five
Proper
rupees.
postage stamp.
Proper postage stamp. Okay.
रेड्डी भाई
some
आप
people-
बताओ
some
आपको
people are like I would say कि like Inder Singh. Inder Singh is easily
हाँ.
recognized in Calcutta, very easily recognized. And you know how many times he captained Punjab in Santosh Trophy? You will be shocked to know he was Punjab captain in Santosh Trophy 13 times. 13 times in a row he was Punjab captain. It's a I don't know whether it's a world record or
एक
a
हमारे
world record.
दिल्ली के
हाँ.
संतोष ट्रॉफी कप्तान थे. He's done 11 times I think.
आप उसको कौन किसकी बात कर रहे हो आप? किशन की कृष्णता नहीं कृष्णता
मिस्टर कुंडू.
नहीं,
Mr. Kundu.
पुष्पेंदर नहीं पुष्पेंदर
हम्म.
इतना बार कप्तान था क्या?
Sir, he's played so many times, and whenever he's played,
No,
he's been
played,
captain.
but he has not captain. He has not captain.
I think he's
Captain
captain.
एक दो बार ही हुआ है. जो भी है, but if you take, I bet how many people will recognize Inder Singh if he walks through the Chandigarh main sector 17 market. Nobody.
सर जेसीटी में 3 साल रहा हूँ.
हाँ.
वहाँ बहुत मुश्किल है पंजाब में प्लेयर्स
हाँ.
फुटबॉल प्लेयर्स को रिकॉग्नाइज करना. बिजू भाई
but-
था, अंजेरी था, बाईचुंग था. डिफिकल्ट बट लेकिन
अब-
द ब्यूटी अबाउट बंगाल इज दे गिव गुड रिस्पेक्ट.
हाँ,
बंगाल का यही है.
हाँ, वो अगर ग्रैंड होटल के नीचे इंदर सिंह खड़ा हो जाए, एटलीस्ट कुछ आदमी तो पहचान ही लेगा कि ये इंदर सिंह जा रहा है.
That's the beauty of Bengal. Yeah.
हाँ,
वो
that is the
कल्चर हो गई ना सर. कल्चर की बात होगी ना. वो कल्चर इज डेवलप्ड ओवर टाइम एंड टाइम अगेन. और वो दिल का रिश्ता है फिर वो तो वो तो कल्चर की बात है. वो कल्चर है ही नहीं. दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम इन आवर कंट्री एंड इट्स द रियलिटी. सो उसका क्या करें. वो तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते आप वहाँ पे. एंड वी आर सो फार अवे फ्रॉम इट, फ्रॉम स्टेट्स दैट डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट फुटबॉल. That for them to actually come and know, it's probably a new generation will have to come and do something. Once that new generation comes and does something, then the younger generation will probably look up to them, and that is the only way. Because all these heroes, they are forgotten heroes. I think it's the right way to say it. Because a lot of us don't know who these people are, and we're a bunch of 5 people who are involved in sport in some capacity or the other, and have been involved in sport for so long. But we are hearing names today. We're saying. First time I'm hearing this name, right? So अगर हमारा ये हाल है, so just imagine the kids who are watching the game right now, and so that way to remember heroes all across this country uniformly, it's going to take a long time. Randy bhai, I'm getting back to that current question again. Sorry, आपको दिख रहा है कोई कप्तानी मटेरियल?
Like Richard said, Gurpreet इतना रिटायर जल्दी करने वाला नहीं है. संदेश इतना जल्दी करने वाला नहीं है. And you have like कोटाल अभी है बहुत साल से. There are few players who are there, but like you said also, I agree to some extent कि ये मौया मेरे को लगता है because the way he plays football, and I see his personality also. मेरे को लगता है कि future हो सकता है, लेकिन कब हो सकता है उसका आगे गुरप्रीत बोलेगा भाई मैं तो छोड़ने वाला नहीं हूँ, मैं तो रिटायर करने वाला. संदेश will say the same. कहाँ से आ रहे हो, कहाँ से नोटिस से उठ के आ गया कैप्टनशिप लेने के लिए, अभी बाकी है भाई. So I think he has to prove himself first. He has to get into the first 11. कि week in week out खेलना पड़ेगा उसको, थोड़ा सा उसको जमाना पड़ेगा first of all. But उसके पास है थोड़ा सा personality. मेरे को भी लगता है मौया हो सकता है. लेकिन we have Thapa also to that. Then again Thapa का performance is up and down.
Yeah, Thapa.
So I think
Up
to
and
be a
down,
captain, you have to be continuously in first 11 for a very long time because but that's how it should be. अगर captain होके बाहर रहेगा तो it will not feel nice. So I think Mauya and Thapa has to be more consistent. Yeah, so then maybe someday those two, I think, we will become, I think they have got that quality to become,
Sharda, media and the role of captaincy, what role does the media play? And I'm saying let's go back in time, and what's the kind of amp up that we do? Because let's say that in journalism, for me to say I have 10 words, मैंने कह दिया he's the captain, a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, he needs to execute his decision well, 8 word तो वही निकल गए, काम हो गया मेरा खत्म, lazy journalism जिंदाबाद, मैं गया नहीं घुसा, मैं तो ऊपर ऊपर की बातें कह के निकल गया. Is that the case? Is that the whole hype around captaincy? कि जी, you know, it sells.
So like Renity has said about the role of the captain in football being completely different to the role in cricket. Now the role of the cricket captain of India is has become gigantic. And a lot of it is surface, a lot of it is because what also happens when you get cricket captaincy, other than you don't necessarily have to be the best player in cricket as well. Kohli is a completely different example. But what doesn't change when you become the captain is your commercial influence on the market. Literally, there's no other way of saying this plainly. That is what is the biggest change that happens when you are not the captain anymore. You see that in financial terms that's very very real. During the time of Saurav Ganguly's captaincy, there were many stars around him, right? So he had Tendulkar in his team, he had Dravid and all the other. Ganguly, Amjad Lakshman, and Sehwag and everyone, and the Kumble, Srinath, whatever. As the years passed, those people became almost fewer and fewer because that generation retired and whatever. Then we reached the point there was Kohli and there was only Kohli. So it's like what Renedy is saying, there are others also in the team that they should also be talked about. Cricket Mate had reached that point. All you saw on television was about Kohli. Kohli, Dhoni, Kohli, Dhoni,
Yeah.
Kohli, Dhoni. That was the way that TV had built it up, and then it became Kohli, Dhoni, Rohit. Kohli, Dhoni, Rohit. It just became in that kind of a scenario, and a lot of the time it's built up. We may not build it up if we are writing people, but if television builds it up, then you can't. There's no fighting. You can't do
Yeah.
anything. You can't counter it in any way, and because of the success of cricket, there's almost like a gatekeeper kind of thing that's there, that you don't get as much access to all the stars that are there currently, never mind aage in cricket, and the captain is foremost, almost implausibly and almost disproportionately foremost, even though he does have a very important part to play on the actual field of play, and in 2020 it's heightened much more and you see it much more. Another very quick thing I just wanted to say is that at one point the Indian hockey team ka captain also used to be a very big deal. Like who's made captain of the hockey team also. Whereas in the role of the captain in hockey is similar to that of football. Is that on the field, I mean, it's the coach that calls it, and on the field your role is limited. Other than this whole other part that you have to play, you stand up for your players. You are there. You're directing. You're generally keeping everything as much in shape and sanity together. But you had that in hockey. And in hockey, you heard stories of how coaches become insecure if captains become popular. That's another level of madness. But Indian hockey में बहुत सारी ये stories हुई है in the past, men, women, both. And players have told me that falana coach thought, didn't like the fact that I was popular or whatever it is. So you get this whole thing, but you need, and the other example of the football captain absolutely symbolized was Chiellini at the Euros before the Spain penalty. He won that match there only, shaking hands and smiling and doing everything. You remember that before the in the semis. So it was just
Alba.
Yeah, and that's what happens in the media's role in cricket. Almost makes it, sometimes it gets a bit lazy, sometimes it gets a bit easy, but it can sometimes be disproportionate.
Yeah.
Disproportionate.
Randy bhai,
if TV takes over, then we are dead. We have no chance.
yeah, I wonder who these people are who work on TV. I mean, कौन है ये लोग? काम करते हैं, घटिया किस्म के लोग, ये हमारी इंडस्ट्री को खराब कर रहे हैं. रेडी भाई, आप बताओ ना एक, क्योंकि because you and Baichung bhai are so close on and off the field, and your roles were of captain, vice captain. Was there ever a time when the media tried cooking up stories with you guys? Because you know your influence on the team is.
See, now with the Indian team, उतना होने नहीं दिया. Of course, yes. हम लोग we were trying to keep the players together. हम लोग एक साथ off the field ज़्यादा, but then in media इतना ज़्यादा ये नहीं था. Of course, interest was there. Newspaper वगैरह, social media आपके पास, social media में इतना आना, Facebook आना, ये आना उतना नहीं था हम लोग के समय में. So now I think that itself इतना problem नहीं हुआ ज़्यादा. So, but then again, you know, Baichung के साथ, you know, for so many years, I think, काफी अच्छा रहा है. You know, he was trying to keep everyone together, but that credit not only goes to him, but there are many other leaders, like you said, Mahesh Gawli, Deepak Mandal, you know, and all this Samir Nayak, and there are many others, Climax, Stephen Dash. You know, there are so many players who are different kind of leaders in different positions. So we all coming all together. I think it was nice, but ज़्यादा media का तरफ से अभी जितना है, I think it was not there. It was not there. Of course, newspaper में, yeah, please go on, Richard. Yeah.
नहीं सॉरी भाई, मैं बोल रहा था कि कॉन्टेक्स्ट भी अलग है ना. मतलब क्रिकेट 80% ऑफ योर क्रिकेट यू प्ले फॉर द नेशनल टीम. तो जब आप कैप्टन भी रह रहे हो, मतलब 80% ऑफ द टाइम यू आर कैप्टनिंग द नेशनल टीम में. लेकिन यहाँ पे आप अपने क्लब में थे, बाइचिंग भाई अपने क्लब में थे, क्लाइमैक्स ऑफ दैट इज क्लब. तो प्रेस को भी इतना जो भी ये गॉसिप क्रिएट करना है, ये जो हाइप क्रिएट करना है, उसका अपॉर्चुनिटी बहुत कम है. मतलब दिल फोकस ऑन योर क्लब करियर. नेशनल टीम कितना रहता था, मतलब हार्डली 2-3 वीक्स बिफोर द इंटरनेशनल ब्रेक एंड स्टफ. तो मतलब उधर भी बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. क्रिकेट यू हैव देम सेंटर स्टेज इन द नेशनल टीम कलर्स. मतलब कॉन्टेक्स्ट में दे ऑलवेज देयर. तो आईपीएल हार्डली 2 months.
अगर खराब भी परफॉर्मेंस होता है तो कभी कैप्टन को टारगेट नहीं करता है फुटबॉल में. अगर वैसा टारगेट करता था, बहुत सारा कैप्टन चला जाता था. बाइचुंग तो 1 साल में या 2 साल में रहेंगे, तो कुछ महीना में चला जाता था. यू नो, कैप्टन टारगेट नहीं होता है, कोच के ऊपर टारगेट होता है फुटबॉल में. Whereas I think in cricket अभी कैप्टन को इक्वली वो लोग को मिलता है कि, यू नो, खराब बोलता है आदमी लोग, बट whereas in football it's only the coaches के ऊपर जाता है. So that way, उसके लिए मैं बोलता हूँ, ये फुटबॉल में क्रिकेट ऑफ कोर्स कैप्टन ऑनर जरूर है, लेकिन ज़्यादा इसको ऊपर, यू नो, सिर बड़ा नहीं होना चाहिए. I feel that.
We're coming close to an hour. Sir, I'll end it with you now. Basically, जो आपने आर्टिकल में लिखा था about Sunil and Constantine prior to the Asian Cup, the last Asian Cup. For the benefit of the boys and girls who are tuned in and don't know, what आपने क्या छानबीन करी और आपको क्या सुनने में मिला? क्योंकि हम सब हैरान थे while covering the Asian Cup कि ये suddenly क्या हो गया कि भाई एक कप्तान एक मैच में, एक कप्तान एक मैच में, एक में तो प्रणय हल्दर भी बना था, मुझे याद है, वो भी कप्तान बना था.
जिसमें वो he considered the penalty in that match only.
बहरीन वाला मैच था वो.
Last match. See, this is what happened. This is what I have gathered from the federation sources. The story, I broke the story. I remember I broke the story on the day India the under-17 World Cup final was played in Calcutta. I was there in Calcutta on the day before. I broke the story, and it appeared on the same day when the final was played. Whatever. The problem that was that before that, I think it was the when the World Cup under-17 final was played. I think it was October, no? It was played.
Yeah, October. I think yes.
October. Yeah. I think in which Renedy also knows it well what happened, because Renedy in Mumbai, he had also good arguments with Mr. Stephen Constantine at that point of time. So 5 of the players in Mumbai camp, 5 players. I don't want to name any of them. All of you know who the 5 were.
Oh, at this key moment.
वो कॉन्स्टेंटाइन साहब ने उनका इंटरनेट काट दिया. हमने कहा भाई ऐसे नहीं हमने कोचिंग कराई है और एशियन कप में लेके गए हम. सर आ जाओ, वापस आ जाओ. वो कॉन्स्टेंटाइन साहब ने पासवर्ड हैक कर लिया था आपका वहाँ पे.
Repeat what you said. Please repeat.
हाँ जी. तो आपने 5 प्लेयर पे रुक गए थे आप.
5 players met one of the senior AFF officials and told him that this coach needs to be changed, because we have qualified for the Asian Cup on the strength of our individual performances. किसी दिन कोई अच्छा खेल गया, किसी दिन गुरप्रीत बहुत अच्छा गोल सेव कर गया, किसी दिन someday Sunil has played very well. Of course, Sunil played very well in the tournament. 2 very crucial goals against Kyrgyzstan and Myanmar. 6 points India got because of those 2 matches. Whatever. So this coach needs to be changed, because this coach is not up to the mark. They said a lot of things which I don't want to say here what exactly they said. So I reported it. Not only I reported it, but it came to the coach here, and he targeted all this place, and this is one of the reasons Sunil lost his captaincy, which I wrote also. And when I asked the coach, that I remember in Delhi, I asked the coach that is this the reason he has lost his captaincy? Coach got upset with me. He says, "What happened in Mumbai tournament? I gave him the captaincy. I gave him this after, and a lot of things he said, which I duly published because he also has to say something. So I published it. But the fact remains that that coach didn't like, so Sunil lost his captaincy in the Asian Cup. That is
one of
the fact.
those? Is this one of those rare instances? फिर आगे उन्होंने हैक कर दिया उनको फिर से आगे सर आगे वापस आगे सर आओ सर ऐसे नहीं बीच में ये गलत टाइम पे इंटरनेट जा रहा है आपका I'm saying is this one of those rare instances in Indian football when a group of players I remember एक was in the under 17 team preparation जो उनका निकला एडम था उनको लेकर बच्चे गए थे मुझे याद है फेडरेशन के पास कि ये क्या हो रहा है ये हो रहा है वो हो रहा है but is this one of those first times that players have come together senior players and saying यार ये this is not working please do something about it
I never heard about it. See, I know a lot of players that did not like their coaches. पीछे बहुत गाली दिया कोच को मेरे सामने ही दिया मेरे को ही बोला ये कोच बहुत है I don't want to name players. बहुत कोचेस के साथ हुआ है लेकिन 4-5 एक साथ होके फेडरेशन में जाके कि भाई इसको भगाना है ऐसा मैंने नहीं सुना I have never heard of it. ऐसा तो हुआ है मतलब जो हुआ है बाइचुंग वर्सेस नईमुद्दीन it's a famous incident by now क्या हुआ था
yes I have also read about it
it's a one of one incident मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि सो बाइचुंग सुमित मुखर्जी सब जाके एएफएफ को बोला कि इसको भगा दो ऐसा नहीं हुआ था they were not happy with the coach that's a different story altogether
but ये factor comes back to what Sharda said ना भाई that coaches get insecure with the captain status कितने बार हम लोग ने सुना है player power
do you भाई
नहीं मतलब I'm talking about examples कि ये player power dressing room clashes losing the dressing room and stuff मैं सिर्फ अभी example से बोल रहा हूँ तो रियल मैड्रिड के क्लासिक टीम्स देख लो मतलब लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स कोच का फटता था मतलब इन केस से रिवोल्ट अगेंस्ट मी एंड थिंग्स यू हियर अबाउट इंस्टेंसेस एट चेल्सी द प्लेयर क्लीक दैट वाज देयर एंड स्टफ तो ये बात में आई थिंक इट कम्स इन मतलब कोचेस गेटिंग रियली इनसिक्योर विद
बिगेस्ट इज द 2010 वर्ल्ड कप
हां फ्रांस वाला
हां that's what I am saying see there
आयरलैंड का भी हुआ था फिर विद मिक मैकार्टी 2002
Roy
Keane so what I mean to say there were players who did not like coaches वो ठीक है they were individually they were complaining अरे ये है ऐसे
नहीं पर वो जो रेनिडी भाई ने बोला कि कोई कोच के ऊपर नहीं जाता क्रिकेट में लेकिन कैप्टन अगर कोच के खिलाफ चला गया फुटबॉल में तब उधर भी खत्म हो जाता है मतलब द गाय हु यू ट्रस्ट विद द लीडरशिप मतलब उसको आर्म बैंड दे दिया या लीडरशिप पोजीशन दे दिया अगर वो जाके मैनेजमेंट को बोल देगा द टीम इज डिसग्रंटेड एंड थिंग्स उधर भी प्रॉब्लम बन सकता है फिर
देखो 97 साफ गेम्स के पहले साफ कप which India won in Kathmandu things were quite bad there were certain players who did not like the coach at all everybody knew about it then they were not in the same page they were abusing each other behind but ऐसा नहीं कि सब मिलके फेडरेशन के पास चला गया कि जाके इसको भगा दो it never happened what happened I think that's a I have at least I never had Arjun I never had such experience in Indian football in Indian club level में हो सकता है
it may have also stemmed from the fact I'm just keeping in mind the unity of that team because हम जो भी कहते हैं Constantine and that team and the kind of football but what Sir is saying and that run that they achieved in the qualifiers up into the Asian Cup they were playing some good football they were playing tight football they were playing unit type football so I'm guessing as a team they must have thought यार हमारे अंदर है कि Asian Cup पे जाके हम we need that one extra कुछ चाहिए कि हम अच्छा कर सकते हैं they had that belief at least you can see that they were playing together for a good 2-3 years comparatively and probably so they said कि चलो जी and you can understand from a coach's point of view Randy bhai feeling betrayed like that right it's one of the worst things right whether you're right or wrong but if you hear 5-6 players are against you hot senior players
that's the time to go that's the time to look somewhere else where you can get a club I think for coaches if you lose those good 5 players then the whole team is not going to support you so it's very very important to keep everyone together not only the captain but everyone together so a balance choosing the right players so these are the things that coaches have to understand when you choose the right players and one rotten apple yeah so it's
मतलब कप्तान को काजू कतलियां खिलाई जा रही हैं.
Yeah, like Richard said, अगर captain who has been playing for very long time, अगर वो captain के साथ the owner will be very very close, and if you don't give the game time for 3-4 matches being a captain, and if he's not performing well, that captain is going to give a call, ये नहीं हो रहा है, and you cannot win all the matches. 1 or 2 matches जब हारने का समय, he will give a call that this is not good, and captain start being a coach, and that's how the team breaks down. So
और अभी हायरार्की भी बहुत ये
difficult
पैरेलल हो गया है भाई, मतलब
Yeah.
ओनर्स आर मच मोर रीचेबल, मतलब अभी व्हाट्सएप, ट्विटर,
Yeah.
ये सब पे द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वांट्स टू बी वेरी क्लोज टू द प्लेयर्स, वो फ्रेंडशिप पे बहुत ज्यादा प्राइड जाता है.
निकल रही है कोचों
नहीं नहीं
की.
नहीं नहीं बता रहा हूँ, दुनिया भर में ये हो रहा है भाई,
I agree.
मतलब एवरीबडी इज वन मैसेज, वन
Yeah,
क्लिक
true.
अवे. वरना पहले फटती थी भाई, मतलब टू गो अप टू इवन टॉक टू द टीम ओनर एंड स्टफ, मतलब प्लेयर्स 10 बार सोचते थे एएफए प्रेसिडेंट के पास जाने के लिए. मतलब द लीडरशिप मॉडल इज आल्सो चेंज कंप्लीटली. नाउ दे कैन से वी वांट अ मीटिंग विद यू. अभी मतलब पहले मीडिया मैनेजर को बोलना है, उससे पूछ लो, एक मीटिंग करना है, ये सब मतलब 10 लेयर होता था उसके बीच में. नाउ एवरीबडी इज रीचेबल. तो उसमें भी आई थिंक कैप्टन इफ एट ऑल इज क्लोज टू द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, गेटिंग दैट डायलॉग टू हैपन इन टुडेज एरा इज अ लॉट ईजियर.
Yeah, agreed. Guys, anything else you want to add? Because I think we've done. मेरे को सिद्धांत के 3 मैसेज आ गए. We've done 60
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah.
So anything else, Sharda? Would you like to add anything, or should I just
No.
say goodbye
So,
to everyone?
just-
let's bring my request, let's bring अभी दादा का जो बंगाल का जो सिक्किम बोल रहा था, बंगाल का जेरी बासी and Kiran Kongsai together something.
Yes,
That will be
in
great.
a show.
Oh, yeah,
How
हाँ.
this will come.
So,
Yeah.
और पूछ लेते
Give Kennedy.
हैं बंगाल का है कि सिक्किम का है, पूछ लेते हैं.
Correct.
ऐसे
What is
मणि-
staying in Sikkim right now, yeah.
ऐसा भी एक आध
Yeah. He's a
ऐसा
lovely
भी
guy.
एक आध प्लेयर लाओ जो मणिपुर से आके बंगाल में नाम किया है, ऐसा प्लेयर भी एक आध.
Yeah, that will be great.
ठीक है,
Let's
sir.
bring them. Let's bring them something. Yeah, it will be
Siddharth,
Jerry
if you're
Bashi is a
listening,
very
please
lovely
make it happen. मैं आपको जरा चैट की बात बता दूं कि चैट में क्या चल रहा है. क्योंकि आज जो हमारे जो बंदे हैं ना, दे आर एक्सप्रेसिंग दैट डिस्प्लेजर, सेइंग कि आप मुंबई सिटी के चैंपियंस लीग की बात करो, प्रफुल्ल पटेल की बात करो, स्टी मैच की बात करो, और जब से शो शुरू हुआ है लगे हुए हैं चैट पे, बात करो. हम बातें नहीं कर रहे. बेस्ट है, एक बंदा अभी ज्वाइन किया है, हिज नेम इज राजू टुडू. ही सेज आई जस्ट जॉइंड, हु इज अगेंस्ट हुम. मैंने कहा भाई ये कौन सी रेसलिंग मैच देखने आए हैं यहाँ पे आप, हाँ, राजू टुडू.
New program.
बट
News show.
न्यू
News show.
प्रोग्राम,
News show.
आपकी
ना?
अदालत.
News show.
Yeah.
New show. But lovely getting all of you on board. Thank you so much for taking your time.
Yeah.
I'll just tell everyone that Mumbai's games are starting on the 8th. They're coming on Star Sports, so all of us will
Right.
have access to watch it. And once the game is over, we will try doing analysis post that. So
Sure.
that is what we will do with the Champions League. We won't do a preview.
Okay.
We'll watch the games and then we'll do that. And also the IWL is starting. IWL is starting. उसके ऊपर जो women's team है उनके 2 मुकाबले हैं, फ्रेंडली मुकाबले हैं, तो उसके बारे में भी बातचीत करेंगे. तो आप फिक्र ना करिए भाई. जो ये लल पीरियड होता है उस टाइम पे हम लोग अपने अपने टॉपिक घुसेड़ते हैं और उस टाइम पे हम दूसरी अलग अलग बातें करते हैं. आज आप में से कितने लोगों ने आज नॉलेज मिली होगी भाई, यहाँ पे सर से, शारदा से, रैंडी भाई से, रिचर्ड से. तो गो बैक एंड लिसन टू इट अगेन एंड देन आस्क योरसेल्फ, क्या हम मुंबई के चैंपियंस लीग के बारे में सुनना चाहते थे या इसके बारे में सुनना चाहते थे. शारदा, जयदीप, रिचर्ड, रैंडी भाई, thank you so much for joining us, and once again this was another episode of 420 grams. We will see you pretty soon. Bye bye.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.